My friends, welcome back to the channel. So my goal for this year is going to be to get videos out on Tuesdays and Thursdays of each week. I'm going to usually make posts on Twitter that are going to be hey, what tickers do you guys want me to look at? It doesn't have to be a ticker that I have a position in. My goal is to try to help as many people as I can. So even if I don't have a position on it, and so long as I feel like it's one that might potentially have a good setup coming, if there's a lot of interest in looking at those tickers, then like I said, we'll take a look at them. Today, by far and away, the top ones were Amzn, Tsla, and AMC, and I also might take a look at CAT if we have time, but I'm definitely going to look at those. Also, every video is going to have a little bit of what I'm looking for as far as kind of the overall market picture, because like I said, regardless of what anybody says, stocks do need typically a decent overall market, unless you're in GNS today, which that one is pretty wild. I have no position in GNS. Please be smart if that's what you're in. If you're not taking profit, somebody else will, but I do think what the CEO is out there and saying, I wish a lot more CEOs would take similar stances. So before we jump to the video, nothing I'm giving you is financial advice. Everything is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I just want you to make awesome trading decisions for yourself, your family, and your portfolio. Also, too, if you would like to join my private Discord, there will be a link in the description, and feel free to come join the team. Virtually every single day, I'm posting, results from people in trading. I personally traded Amazon for 43% today. Tesla took for 15, 25, 35, 75%, and 105%. CAT I took for 35%, and SPY took for 47%. And a lot of people in the Discord had great success. So if you want to join, shoot me a DM on Twitter, or you can sign up through the link in the description. Let's get after it. All right. So first off, futures right now. I called out this rising wedge here on Twitter. I said it's pretty much just a ticking time bomb as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, yesterday got the big shove out. I mean, market pretty much ran straight down yesterday, and then a little bit more consolidation and a little bit more downturn, and then recovery towards the end of the day. So what you're going to want to see, though, is pretty much came down here, found support right around the 0.5. So you're going to want to see it, kind of rounding back out. So kind of exactly like right here. So once you got the big dip, you want to see some weakening price action and start to curl back up. So that's what is going to be on the lookout. Typically, you want to see it when kind of your lower time frames. You want it to see start recovering VWAP, and then some of those EMAs, and then that'll really help the macro picture a lot. But not a great look on futures right now. I mean, you can see here it caught support on the 0.5, but then got rejected off the 382. So I really think this might be just a corrective pattern before more downside. But I've been saying for a long time that I think more downside is going to be needed in this overall market. Now, we're certainly at no level of where anybody can claim victory or anything along those lines, because right here, this has been the SPY look that I've been talking about, and how it's been eerily similar from the summer rally, where you got the big summer rally, then a push down, and then another decent little rally before the next leg down. And I mean, we've got this big sort of leading into Christmas rally, and then we got another big push down, another smaller rally, and now starting to push down. This is hitting two important fib levels. Number one is going to be the golden pocket, and that's going to be an inverse. So I basically went from the top of the summer rally to the bottom in October, and did the fib inverse. So where normally your 236 is at the top, and then your 382. So it normally goes 236, 382, 0.5, 0.618, all that kind of stuff. Stair tags down. When you're looking for potential rejection points, you can run it from your top to your bottom so you go from your swing high to your swing low instead of your swing low to your swing high. That's just basically how you do it. It's a great way to look at fibs. So, but we got rejected perfectly out of the golden pocket, which is your most common retracement, and it got rejected hard and the volume really started to uptick on this. Now we pretty much have a 50-50 spinning top candle. I tweeted out I was looking for somewhere between 385 to that 387 ballpark. Got into the 387s today, and you can kind of see on the daily here where the 9 EMA is really starting to curl down and pretty much didn't right on the tick, but got pretty close and got shoved down pretty hard off of that. But like I said, this candle here is a spinning top. It's a 50-50 candle. Typically, it's going to lead towards continuation. Could be a reversal, but I mean, overall, the picture to me looks more bearish than bullish. However, until you really break this rising support trend from that October low, that's why I said pretty much below that 390 to 393 range, I'm going to be pretty bearish. And then once we break this rising support right here, that's going to be somewhere around like a good solid break is going to be around like 383, and it also depends, where are we once we get there. But let's say if it happened tomorrow, it would need to be like in the 380 ballpark to start looking really ugly. There's argument that maybe this is just corrective before pushing to higher highs, and I can certainly buy that. Whoops, missed it, my fib there. But to me, this move is starting to look more impulsive down than just kind of corrective, because once again, the volume is really starting to pick up here as well. If we were pushing down and the volume was constantly weaker volume, then I would feel better about the potential move to the upside. So we break this, we get a big push down. Even though like into the 370s, a very similar candle. And once again, I'm not saying that's necessarily going to be tomorrow, because, this type of move, a candle, what happened afterwards is very common, just because, a lot of RSIs started getting super oversold. And I mean, you're just naturally going to have, what's called automatic reaction. So anytime, something rocket ships up, super hard, super fast, 2-3 days in a row, then you're either going to see some consolidation and you're going to see, a decent pullback. But this, it absolutely could be a move similar to what you're seeing right here. Like this would have looked particularly bearish. And then, so you got that big, candle on higher volume. And then you kind of had a weaker spinning top candle, and started pushing right back to the upside. So very possible to see that. I just think, once again, overall, we're going to look back and say, hey, this was not great at this moment. Another way to look at this too is if you go just from the top that was right over here in December, you kind of do this fib. I mean, pretty much the 707 fib is where it rejected clean off of that. So once again, multiple levels of confluence that this is a good solid rejection at that point in time. So that's what I'm going to be looking for overall on SPY. Obviously, earnings season is going to have a lot to do with it. Netflix kicked it off today, had decent earnings, a lot more subscribers, but then they said some weird stuff like, we're not going to report subscribers anymore, and it's kind of weird. CEOs leaving, all that kind of stuff. Kind of same thing if you use an inverse fib here. So from its high on November 21st to its low in May, even though earnings were banger, I mean, you still stopped at this 0.5 fib at 338. And Netflix has already had, a couple of rejections off this level. Now, if it can get on top of 338, I can see Netflix pushing to 400 relatively easily. And once again, it's not going to be a straight shot, but I mean, like over a few months or anything like that, maybe a month and a half, I can easily see it pushing to 400. If it stays and just kind of constantly chops, then I'm going to be looking for another takedown. Their revenue was pretty much right on target. Their earnings per share was a big miss there, but they added a ton of subscribers. So I don't know. We'll see. Netflix is very 50-50. I mean, it blew past it, and then it came in and closed and stopped short of it. So it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the overall market is going to, have a look at that, if you will. So Amazon, let's talk about it. I honestly was kind of surprised everybody wanted to talk about it. So that's awesome. I love talking about it. So basically, you got 3 massive rejection points right here on its current downtrend. And you can see it had a good solid push to it, but then the very next day when it tried to break above, it was solidly rejected. And this candle right here, I tweeted about. You can go to my Twitter page, but basically this was a pretty much textbook dark cloud cover, which is going to be you've got a good solid day, then you've got a gap up, and then the candle closes about more than 50% of the previous day candle, and it's pretty much right at it. And then Netflix, it did gap up the next day, but ultimately you got a close of a lower low, and then now you got a lower low that was made again today. So Netflix is showing signs of being tired right here. You also have two major gaps, both at 89 and at 86. And while the volume did slightly decrease over this, I wouldn't consider this necessarily breakaway gaps. So to me, overall, over the next couple of weeks, a test towards this bottom trend line is going to make sense. Also, too, we could look at it from a fib standpoint of this low right here up to the high. So your 618 is going to be your most common, which would bring it back down to 87. But if you look at it, pretty much that 707 at 86, that would pretty much get the gap filled, which probably means it would probably see the 786. So I think a move back down to around 84 before it might continue to push up. Now, overall, you can see that this is somewhat of a descending triangle look. So this support at 81, I talked about a bunch before. You can just see even back here all the way to 2018 how important this 81 support was. And back over here in March of 2020, that was its COVID low. It was right here, basically 81.50. So Netflix is kind of giving you a, the world's biggest double bottom, look. And so here, though, this is basically you're constantly making lower highs, and you do have this support right here. So is it going to look like this eventually? Whoops, I didn't mean to put text in there. Is it going to be a here, break here, retest, and then continue for lower lows? Obviously, they've got earnings coming up. Let's see, when is that going to be? It looks like it's right at the beginning of February. So looks like February 2nd for Amzn. I played puts on Amzn right here at this top trend, and I've done very well with that. I still think overall, especially if the market isn't looking bad, so like I said, I still think overall coming down to somewhere around that 86 ballpark makes a lot of sense before Amzn could potentially move back up and test this upper trend again. But you want to see 81 hold. Also, too, if you're looking for long-term stocks, I tweeted out the other day about how shares are kind of the long game, and even if they don't make you money right off the bat, if either your 5, 10, 15-year holds, stocks like an Amzn that have already tested their COVID lows and even the highs somewhere in that ballpark, I do think, a long time from now, if you bought right here, even if it does wind up going a little bit lower before shooting back up, I do think over time this would be a great place to buy, even if short term it's not a winner for you. So if you're swing trading, day trading, or anything like that, wouldn't necessarily do it. But if you're long term holding, I told my Discord group I'm going to start selling puts on it relatively soon. I do think it's a good long-term hold. I don't think Amzn has seen its all-time highs. Just my personal opinion. Absolutely could be wrong on that. So, that's pretty much the quick look at Amzn. Let's jump over here to Tesla. So Tesla is just probably my favorite stock to trade and own, all that good stuff. So I alerted back here on Twitter this basically this bull flag descending wedge look right here that tested VWAP, did get a little bit below, but then basically rocketed afterwards. And then this morning on Tesla, right out the gate, pretty much at this rejection that was right here, and then this red candle, this is on the 5-minute chart, but this rejection and then finding support right here on this rising support and this rising support, I basically drew out this this rising wedge, and this is what I alerted to my Discord, like, hey, this is on watch for Tesla. And I actually did enter puts a little bit early. I actually entered some puts right in here, hoping that it was going to stay underneath the VWAP, because I didn't know if it was going to break later or earlier. I wound up breaking later, and that's okay. And then you got a bearish engulfing here on the 5 minute, and then you had a real weak bounce off support, and then all she wrote at that point in time. And then this is where, if you follow me on Twitter, I said it's testing its pre-market lows right here. So it's kind of testing all these pre-market lows. So I anticipated a bounce and then a further push down. And so pretty much rode puts to Valhalla on this today. And then I did not trade this push back up here, getting in towards the end of the day, because I didn't want to, Netflix earnings were going to be important for some market direction potentially overall. And so I really don't like holding things overnight right now. I try to be in all cash. Other than my very long-term shares, I really try to be in all cash overnight. But yeah, so this was just a beautiful setup on Tesla. Learn and know, memorize those kind of setups. Now, let's look at Tesla a little bit more macro here, real quick, just so you can kind of get an idea. So, same thing, with the dark cloud cover. I hadn't even looked at this. So, Tesla basically is stuck, found support on its 9 EMA and rejected off the 21 EMA. And you've got just a long-legged doji as far as candles go there. I talked a lot about on Twitter how this 124.50 was providing a ton of resistance. So now, you can see I hadn't even extended it out. So now what you want to see, and I mean, look at that. Basically dipped right back down into former supply. Now it has become demand, and it started to push back up. Now, let's go to lower. See what the volume kind of looked like on this push up. So, I mean, yeah, there definitely were some buyers. The volume increased and then pretty much flatlined the rest of the day. So you really want to see, where is this going to go? But if you're looking at this from, an accumulation standpoint, this would have been your spring, and this could be your sign of strength. And then now you're backing up to your last point of support, which would be right here. And so a continued push to the upside. If this holds, if this is not a fail, then a continued push to the upside absolutely makes sense right here. If Tesla does get below, this 124.50, then I think you're going to see a push down. Also, you can kind of see, once again, this is on shorter time frame, but like if I go out to the hourly, Tesla could potentially be, is it going to make, kind of come down here, test this here, and before, could it make a head and shoulders look? Absolutely. So as of right now, it's good to see this bounce right here. Wasn't on a ton of volume. Let's see if we're looking at, so this fib right here, this is the 382 macro from the COVID low to Tesla's all-time high. So you are bouncing right here. I can kind of tell you, for me, I can already tell just looking at this is looking a little bit like this, you know what I'm saying? Looking a little rising wedge to me here. And this is literally me just, analyzing it real time here with you, my friends. Let's see if the volume's decreasing. Not too bad, but I mean, this is, so guys, this is, what I always, harp on my Discord and everything like that. When you're looking at falling wedges or rising wedges, you do want to see that volume dropping out, kind of the higher and higher and higher it goes. Just basically shows you that it's losing buyers, and then potentially you could, catch a breakdown at that point in time. So Tesla, this is 100% going to be the look that I'm going to be watching for. Whoops, rather than that. So overall, macro wise, that doesn't look good to me. This looks like potentially just going to roll right over. So overall, Still potentially could see, a move up tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday with OPEX, so I actually am kind of short-term bullish potentially for tomorrow, and then Monday of next week potentially starting the next move down, which would kind of be my overall thesis, like on futures, is maybe getting up here and double topping before moving down. AMC. So AMC actually held up pretty well today. Very pleasantly surprised. Kind of the same thing with Tesla. So you had clear supply right here, came back down here, dipped into it, and now you are finding some support here. GME had like an awful day, and so the fact that AMC held up even when GME and BBBY wasn't doing great either. Let me just show you this. Okay, sorry. I like trying to keep these videos like right around 15-20 minutes, but we're already at 20 minutes, and I'm going to keep going because I just don't care. All right, so here's why I don't like what I saw with GME today. So I talked a lot about this 1950 support. You broke down, you came up, you got rejected off. You did push through, and then you broke back down, and oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. And this is why I just... the people who are like, dude, it doesn't work. Just almost to the penny where I had that line, bam, rejected off. So if GME can get back above, this 1950, then, and then essentially make a higher high. So what you'd be looking for is, so you've constantly been making lower lows. Then you actually made a higher high from here to here. So, you did make a higher high. Now you want to see some type of lower low made, to start continuing up like that. That's going to be the sequence that you want to look for on GME. For BBBY, overall, this looks more bearish than bullish to me. You got the EMA curling down on the more macro time frame. Yes, this is kind of a 50-50 look here. It's a symmetrical triangle, but you can clearly see there's more resistance at the top than the rising support. But kind of same thing. You are, as you're correcting, you are getting a volume decrease. You've got gaps along the way, but this is going to be, if you break here, I get pretty bearish. Probably going to tumble at least back down to 220, if not $1.77, where you can see it accumulated here for a little bit. So there's definitely buyers right in there. So if you break down, come up, retest, something along those lines. So bullish, you want to push up, retest, and continue push up to the upside. So AMC, like I said, we're seeing a SR flip, which just means what was support then became resistance, and it was resistance back here, and now it's acting as support again. So like I said, still could definitely see a potential curl up here heading towards the 745. I do think that the gap fill, and this 200 is going to keep, kind of curling on down here like this. So if you run into the 200 and the 0.5, once again, I'm talking about options. All right, you're trying to be able to sell and stop a squeeze. No. And just trying to help you keep the money that you make. Weird, I know, right? Also, too, our last video, we talked about where the 4-hour RSI was going to be. Since then, it's basically been a 20% pullback on AMC from where I talked about it. So, like I said, the people are like, oh, it's trash, doesn't matter, technicals don't matter. Just, okay. Want to see the support here? Would love to see it curling back up. Here's one other thing you need to be cautious of. If you curl back up and you retest this higher around like 635, but the volume is like this, like boop, 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 boop. Like if it does push back up and that volume is constantly dropping off, then again, you trade your plan. I don't give a crap what you do. But my bias would be definitely that it's going to roll over at that point in time. And like I said, lots of gaps below there. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay, so AMC, you want to see this supply zone, support zone hold. Definitely worst case scenarios, you want to see that 618 hold right there for a pullback. And, could you argue that, just kind of as I'm looking at this, this is cup and handily looking for that? Absolutely, I could buy that. So earnings aren't for a while on AMC. Voting and all that kind of stuff isn't going to be for a while. So potentially could see a run into earnings, voting, all that good stuff. But yes, for the people who are always wondering, yes, I do think the gap will probably fill once this move up comes to an end. Okay, so that's everything. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Once again, Discord link will be in the description. Much love. I will see you guys Tuesday of next week. If anything really crazy happens over the weekend or tomorrow, then maybe I'll make an update over the weekend. But other than that, I will see you next week. Please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Much love, my friends. I will see you tomorrow.